And once again, there's another video on the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch 2 is coming up very soon, about a month from now, a month and a couple of days. So very close. But just had to say something. I don't think I'll be getting one. If you know from my previous video, I discussed about just landing in Canada and being here for a short while, still trying to settle down and whatnot. One of my hopes was coming here, got my Nintendo Switch. I made sure to bring all my accessories and getting here. I hope to, of course, swap my HDMI cord and my Switch with everything, including the Nintendo HDMI cord that comes with the console, everything. And then get like about 110 Canadian dollars or whatnot to offset the $700 cost of the Nintendo Switch 2. But sadly, I don't think that's a possibility for me anymore. Yeah, it's because after I get the Switch 2, then the games become a problem. Like okay, so this is US prices I'm showing you here. So this hardware price is okay. This hardware price is okay. This is okay. This, I still say again, $80 games for Mario Kart is not okay. I yes, from a business perspective, I understand. The market is quite tough right now. Economy is quite tough. Tariffs and whatnot, and especially for physical games. But the thing that annoys me is the fact that digital games are meant to be cheaper. Than because no tariff applied to them. But of course, Nintendo will want to do that because piss off retailers, and you probably will accelerate the killing of physical games. But I said the main thing is that the relationship with retailers would not be good, because retailers would want to price match and sell it as low as that. So, and they'll probably demand Nintendo cut their margins to ensure that they can sell at similar prices and whatnot. Which Nintendo can say they don't want to do that. But yeah, is what it is. In Europe, they are doing that. I don't think they care so much about that in Europe. Digital is cheaper than physical in Europe. For a lot of countries in Europe, so some countries is almost the same thing, but not everywhere. But some countries in Europe, digital is cheaper. So yeah, I don't really know what Nintendo wants to do regarding that, but I as a business person, I understand you want to make the most of it, and if you feel that the Mario Kart world is worth $80, and the value you think the players are going to get from it, and the value, let me not say the value you think the players are going to get from it, the value you place on the hardware, because players may not necessarily agree with the value you put on it, so and you can't really be sure what value players will put, but the value you think players will get from the unit value you put on the game, and that's what you determine the prices. And yeah, if they feel it's worth that price, and I think it will sell well. It probably do very well. The game looks good up, and I think it will sell well. Personally, looking at the Switch 2 launch lineup, there aren't enough games for me to say, yeah, I'll buy it. There aren't enough games for me to say I'll put in a heavy, investment. Now the catch is, and the problem is, because gaming is getting so expensive, I may not even be able to buy Nintendo Switch 2 if I say I want to save in the future, because there's a high chance that they will increase the price in the next 1 or 2 years, and it just keep getting expensive, just like the PS5. And many people who have been waiting to buy a PS5 hoping it'll come down in price, and it's not coming down in price. It's getting more expensive than at launch, and it's ridiculous. It's coming from Nigeria, I'm used to the fact that things get more expensive over time, not get cheaper. Like when I got my PlayStation 5, it was then equivalent of $500. Whatever is still equivalent of $500, but it's times 2 in Nigeria. In terms of naira, but my income did not grow by times 2. So you can imagine, how expensive it would have been if I said let me save in future. In a couple of months it became times two what I bought it. Like 3 months, 4 months, it became times two what I bought it. New president, new policies, whatnot. Became times two. So Americans are complaining about how cost of things will rise and whatnot, but Nigerians faced that in 2023 and they're still facing with that now. And yeah, so sometimes saying you're gonna save to buy something in the future may not necessarily work out, and gaming is kind of showing up that it's that. So what I'm thinking of doing, because I like to game portable play, I'll probably just get a portal, which is what I'm hoping to get. I'm hoping the prices don't change before my birthday this month. I'm hoping to get that for a birthday present for myself. My wife's birthday is this month as well, so I've done that already for her. So moving on. But yeah, some of these prices, like, I don't understand why Kirby is $20. For I understand he has extra content, but the game has been the original game has been out for a while. So if you want to buy the full Kirby game, you have to pay $80. I understand that it has extra content, but it shouldn't be priced this game has been out. You sold so many copies already from the original release at $60, which immediately tells me your cost of production was low enough for you to sell it at $60. But now, because you've added extra content, you feel you can charge $20 on it when you've made enough profit already. And Nintendo's profit margin is gross is probably 34%, or near 40% gross margin, 34 to upwards. So you're making good profit margins on these things. So you are sold so many copies, game's been out for a while. The game should be actually getting a $10 price drop. Even if it's gonna be more expensive, it shouldn't be more than $70. $10 more expensive than the original. I understand. I said you can put value on your game, but I still don't get it. Room Factory for Nintendo Switch 2 is $70. I think the original Switch 1 version probably $60. That makes sense, and I think that is a fair price comparison. Mario Party Jamboree sold really well on Switch 1. Yes, it has extra content and special features for Switch 2. I still feel it should be $70. Now, what I'm saying here is my personal opinion. I'm just looking at the prices here, and I'm things are getting really expensive. Then when you add in the memory cards and whatnot, everything, I don't know who's gonna buy this game, but maybe some people will buy it. This should have been free. It has no business being paid for. Don't know why Nintendo made it paid. Ridiculous to me. The upgrade prices, $10 upgrades for it's good, but $20 for upgrade, no. Cyberpunk Ultimate Edition launching at $70. Yeah, well, it's been cheaper on other consoles. I love Cyberpunk. I've spent lots of hours on it, but I don't think I would want to buy it on Switch 2 and get a clearly inferior version when I can get an inferior version on the PS Portal for cheaper. I probably still look a little bit better than whatever on Switch 2. Of course, latency and other things are an issue, but for me, it just does not seem like a good deal. And a couple of amiibos. The amiibo prices are fine. I don't have issues with them. I don't have issues with many of the game releases, but some of them are just so pricey for me. Once again, why is Tears of the Kingdom $80? I can understand. Breath of the Wild was $60 at launch. Now you're adding upgrades and work, you've done some work on it, so you're adding $10 to for the work you've done on it to make it more graphical pleasing and whatnot. Okay, yes, $10 extra for Breath of the Wild makes sense. Okay, for Tears of the Kingdom, because Tears of the Kingdom launched at $70, you're gonna just add $10 on it and make it $80. Come on, Nintendo. No, I think there's a point in time when you have to know I just think, yes, I understand like your business, you need to be able to maximize your profitability in every way. I get that, but it's gaming. Like, as I said, as a consumer, I'm just thinking the problem is because I'm comparing with other, gaming outlets, Microsoft, Sony. I'm comparing with, Steam. I'm seeing how they do sales there. I'm seeing how, there are permanent price cuts to games, and I'm looking at, Zelda. Tear of the Kingdom came out 2 years ago, $70. It's still 70 on the Switch. A new version is coming out on Switch 2 and is $80. Doesn't make sense to me. They should both be $70. Like they don't lose anything by making both of them $70. I don't think, because okay, yes, it does some extra work on Switch 2, but I don't really think it would have made a huge difference if it wasn't still $70. Yes, they'll probably make margins, for more money, but I still think they could have done $70 and they'll make a good amount of money, and they'll probably have a lot of people that will be easily buy it at $70. Like, I'm sure there will be people who buy this at $8, no questions asked. Once again, Nintendo has loyal fans. They know. I personally feel that this is what someone who has a core loyal fans kind of has ways to take advantage, and I think there's room for discounts. There's room for cutting costs, because again, you sold 20 million in like 3 days. Like, you've made your money well over, like, easily. So why do you want a penny pinch for software that was out 2 years ago and it's made most of its money, and it's probably going to continue to sell? Maybe not sell as well as Breath of the Wild, but probably going to continue to sell for a long time. Of course, it's $70. Like, how maybe the price reduced the legs, don't know, but on Nintendo's sales data, it doesn't seem to be selling at the same pace as Breath of the Wild, which seems to be selling, at least had a long sales trajectory and good sales trajectory. So maybe it's $70 price that cost that in the first place. Now you're charging $80 for it. I just don't understand the rationale, and I just think, if you've listened to my videos on Switch 2, I just feel Nintendo is out of touch. Nintendo is, like I said, as a business person, I understand and I fully agree. As a consumer, someone that games on this system, I find it quite annoying. I find them just seem to feel they can charge whatever they can. Like $80 games, like for not new games. Like, I think if you're going to be raising the bar for your game prices, I think they should be stuff that haven't been done before, and people say, okay, yeah, this game is so big, and we need to charge $80. Like, you've already released this game for $70. You've released it for 2 years ago. You sold so many copies already. Why are you making extra? Well, just adding some extra graphical features, which I'm pretty sure you probably have done when you were developing the game. Because the Switch 2 is coming out, so I'm sure they probably would have done this by then. So why are you charging $10 for it? Because I don't want to believe, they did some work just after the game came out. Like, they knew the Switch 2 was coming out when this game was out. When they worked on updates and they worked on things, I don't think it's just recently just did new work and stuff. So all that should still count towards the budget of the original release, and they've made your money. So I don't get it. I just don't. For me, I just don't get it. I don't want to call it penny pinching, here and there. Nintendo just trying to put prices here and there. It just doesn't make sense to me. And maybe the fans will eat it up and there won't be any issue. Maybe the fans won't. I don't know. Like, some prices are fair, well and good. World of Assassination, Hitman, good. Days of Machina, 70, good. No issues with some of these games. I think prices for a lot of them are fair. Accessory prices is another issue, but just one of those things. I've been using a lot of US prices, because global pricing and whatnot. But I think for one of the things I want to be doing going forward, I really want to be focusing on, at least when I'm here in Canada, focus on the Canadian prices and Canadian market as far as I'm concerned. These prices are frankly ridiculous. Frankly ridiculous. Wage is not as strong as US, But for some weird reason, Nintendo and many game companies expect people to pay, you know, far more. Of course, when you convert it to US dollars, probably similar, but it's still a lot compared to the wages here. And I understand they don't want to reduce the prices to avoid people importing from the US, but there needs to be some form of regional pricing for Canada. I think if US prices are gonna be increasing due to tariffs, I don't think Canada has to suffer those price increases when they don't have tariffs on Canada. I understand people can import from Canada easily from the US, so you want to reduce that thing, but I just feel let Canada have their own prices. If you have to limit the app store, or at least digitally, at least something, even if physical is more expensive than digital, I mean, it doesn't just make sense to me why the prices are as high as they are. So yeah, maybe the console, but just the digital games should be cheaper. That's my opinion. Most people will not agree. I know there are many business considerations around that, and I said many things, retailers, physical presence and all those things that you don't want to interfere with. I know there are many things that they consider, but I just feel as a consumer, once again, these games are pricey, and like Mario Party is 115. Why is Mario Party 115? Why is Mario Kart World 110? Why is Donkey Kong 100? Those are the questions I'm asking. Like why is Zelda 100? Why is Tears of the Kingdom 114? Once again, these are the questions I'm asking. Why is Mario Kart World just 110? I don't understand these prices. I don't get it. It's ridiculous to me, and yeah, that's just it. I don't know how well I can keep up with Nintendo, considering they do sales now, but 30% is is their maximum sales that they usually do. 30%, maybe 35 on the maximum. Basically, don't do more than that, and not every game is on sale every Black Friday, every sales period. They spread it out during the year, so you may not be able to pick up the games you want at a particular time. Unlike Sony, that there's a major sale, majority of the games will go on sale. It may not be at the correct price point, or maybe the discounts may not be that much, but at least they try and make sure majority of the games go on sale. And most third parties take advantage of that as well. So it just doesn't make sense that you focus if you really want to play a lot of Nintendo games. And yeah, the Switch is for Nintendo games and third parties, but you mostly play a lot of Nintendo games and get a lot of Nintendo games. It's just what the system is made for. I've played many of the games, third party games already. And the others, I'm not really interested in them, and I have other consoles to buy those games as well. So yeah, the incentive is not just there for me, and the prices are just scary. I don't know how Nintendo will navigate this situation. I do know that just to copy on that, I think this Switch 2 will probably be one of the biggest video game launches ever. I don't think the price will have any impact on it at all. I can rant here, I can see all the ranting on the rant here, but that's my personal opinion. I still think the system will fly off the shelves, and even Kirby and Zelda that I'm pissed off by the pricing, it will be flying off the shelf as well. People really trust and love Nintendo. People love Nintendo products, and people love Nintendo games, and yeah, another market right now. But this, someone living here, is just out of reach at this point. 2 games here will give me a PS Portal, and it doesn't make sense to me. Like if I'm, if I can, 3 games here is more expensive than the PS Portal, so it just looks like of course same thing for other games, $80 games. Like if I'm buying 2 $80 games, then that's the end. I must as well just buy another hardware and just be able to play cloud games. Have a subscription that gives me access to many games. I just play many games instead of buying new games every time and spending a huge amount of money. I'd rather pay more for a subscription. I know that's at least giving some good value this year. PS Plus is really giving a lot of good games this year than do this. Just my opinion. But for work and maybe for future coverage, if channel does well and anything goes well, I'll probably get a Switch 2 because of that. But if not, will just focus on the PlayStation for now, and that will be my primary console, and just keep up with what happened in Nintendo business. And maybe eventually, if I have enough cash, I'll trade in my old Switch and get a new Switch too. But wait till then. Nothing major till then. Yeah. So once again, this is just another personal rant about Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch prices. So thank you once again for listening to 3% Games. And once again, if you are interested in having a discussion with me, and we can have a long discussion on video game and video game industry, available for entry your podcasts if you want a guest. Also, I want to have on my own. So thank you very much, and keep listening.